This clip is from the Boundary Riders podcast, and if you do enjoy this, then make sure to check out the full episode out every single Wednesday morning on YouTube and Spotify. But now let's move into the West Coast Eagles. Now, we did talk about this in an episode of the podcast, I think it would have been about 2 months ago now, regarding the West Coast Eagles and wanting or needing a priority pick. And it does seem, according to Tom Morris, so take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but he says that they are highly likely to ask the AFL for a priority pick at this year's draft. They will obviously have the number one pick. They will have a pretty high pick as well for compensation from Oscar Allen. And it also seems they're going to be asking for a priority pick, which you would assume would be up there in the top 5 picks. So they could have 3 top picks in the top 5, the West Coast Eagles. Now, do I think they deserve a priority pick? No, I don't think they do. I don't think they should get one because, 7 years ago now, they won the premiership. 5 years ago, they made a final. I think they made it in 2020, I'm pretty sure. So it's not like they're in North Melbourne's situation or the Gold Coast. They don't need a priority pick. They need to pick players up. They need to stop. I mean, think about this. But also another thing with the West Coast Eagles as well is the fact that they haven't had problems attracting players either. Like you think of a North Melbourne or a Gold Coast, for so many years, those clubs were losing players en masse and not bringing anyone in of experience. So that I understand to an extent why they were getting priority picks. But the fact that the West Coast Eagles are asking for it when they have really no players like en masse leaving, and in fact they're pretty good at bringing players in. We've seen in more recent years Baker come through, Graham, Brockman. There's obviously a couple more as well. Now, they have lost a few, but overall, the fact that they can still hold their list relatively intact, I think, without losing too many players, I don't think they need a priority pick, and I don't think they deserve one. I don't think they've been down the bottom for so long that they need to get help from the AFL. They're also one of the most richest clubs in the country, and they're also one of the most popular clubs in the country. They have they still have a higher membership number than Fremantle and all of the interstate clubs, other than maybe Port Adelaide and the Crows. But even then, I think they have the highest membership numbers in terms of interstate clubs. So by no means do I think they need a priority pick whatsoever. And then you look at things like the stories regarding Harley Reid in more recent times about his contract talks. So I don't think they deserve one at all. I think that they are more than fine with where they are. They need to focus more on the draft. I agree with that. Maybe they do need to get rid of a couple of experienced players who are kind of towards the end of their careers and maybe move a couple of them that are not going to be there for the next premiership. Maybe, I don't know why they signed Tim Kelly. That was a waste of years and money. They should have just if he wanted to go, let him go. If he wanted to retire, let him retire. At this point, there is no need to have kept him on the list. You've got a couple of young guys that can come through. There's also a couple of others that I would probably say, why are you still there? Jack Petricelli would probably be one of them. Tom Cole is probably in and out, you would say. There's probably more than enough. I don't really know a lot of the West Coast lists, to be honest, but there are a few out there that don't deserve to be getting games, for one, but also don't deserve to be getting paid a decent enough salary that they are, they need to get a priority pick in as well. I think that they've got a pretty good line of a team. I think they've got 2 really good forwards coming through. Jake Waterman, of course, 50-plus goal year in 2024. Oscar Allen's on the out. I think that's a good move in the end. Just let him go. Get the compensation pick. You'll get probably pick 2 or 3 because of how high his salary is going to be at the Brisbane Lions. And Jobe Shanahan, for mine, is the guy you build off of. I think that guy has shown some great signs in his early few games for the West Coast Eagles. He seems like he can lead the line, so I love that. Down back, Harry Edwards looks like the new key back. I know McGovern's a bad loss. Obviously, I think he probably could have gone into the next year or two as the captain until they reinvigorate something different. But unfortunately, with his concussion, he's had to retire, which is totally fair. But Harry Edwards is the guy you build in that defense. Sandy Brock has shown some pretty decent signs in the back 50 as well as a tall. And then through the midfield, I like Harley Reid as a midfielder. Has had some pretty good games over the last couple of weeks. He still needs to build up his tank a bit because he can't run out games as well as some others. So, but I mean, if he can get 27 disposals in a game, if he can get up to 30, he's going to rip games apart. And if he can do it on a consistent basis, he's going to be top 5 player in the competition in the next couple of years. So as soon as he can build that tank, he's going to be up there, obviously. And I mean, it does seem a little bit arrogant of him. I would understand why people would think that's a bit arrogant of him asking for so much money and, a long-term deal now, because he's only been in the system for just over a year and a bit. But the potential's there. We've seen what he can do. I think that he should. I mean, I don't really mind the idea of him doing that. His AFL is a short career in the scheme of things, so you might as, if you've got the potential, people are going to pay for it. You might as well go out there and ask for what you think you're worth. I think that's more than fair. So, yeah, I think that they've got the building blocks of a team, the West Coast. There's probably a lot of role players that they do need, but overall, I think they've got the lineup to build up, and I don't think they need help from the AFL to do so. They just need to hit a couple of drafts get a couple of players in through the draft. I mean, they're going to get 2 top picks this season. That's good enough. You don't need a third. And they've never had a problem recruiting players from other clubs. So, I mean, the fact that the Fremantle Dockers are been higher than them for the last, 4 years or so, and they are still recruiting some big players like Baker and Graham over Fremantle, shows to me that they have no issue recruiting players. So West Coast, I don't think they don't need a priority pick. Absolutely not, in my opinion. And 2, I think they'll be fine in the next couple of years. They're still going to be on the end of some smashings, but I personally think that McWalter's got them going in the right direction. And yes, it was a terrible loss to Richmond last week. I don't think you can argue that, but I think overall, I think they're walking in the right direction. I think they're kind of moving in the right way. But I did also want to bring up what James Hird had to say about this, because he was asked on the Footy Furnace on Channel 9 regarding if the West Coast Eagles deserve a priority pick.
At the other end of the ladder, they're 1-18. They're having a miserable season. Poor Andrew McWalter. The West Coast Eagles fans keep turning up. They've had a shocking few years as well. Ever since really 2022, their record is poor. They're 11-76 from their past 87 games. And the question will be asked now, probably by the Eagles to the AFL: do we deserve a priority pick at the end of the season? What would you say for the AFL, Hurdy?
Absolutely no chance. They're the most powerful, richest team in the competition. They've got themselves in that position. There's no way they've got to get themselves out of it.
Devil's advocate, doesn't every team who gets a priority pick get themselves in that position?
Yeah, but the other teams don't have the resources that West Coast have. I mean, you look at, Jimmy, how rich are West Coast?
They could probably buy their next licence, couldn't they? They got that much.
Do they deserve a priority pick?
No.
Well, I agree with you as well. But they will. I think they are highly likely to ask the question.
So I totally agree with that sentiment. They're one of the most powerful clubs in the AFL, one of the richest. There is no need to ask for a priority pick. I mean, they will. I mean, they've got to ask because of where they are, and they're still sitting down the bottom. But literally, in 2021, they won 10 games. They finished 9th on the ladder, I think it was. So they weren't exactly in a terrible position. They made finals in 2020. So they're not that far away. Look at North Melbourne. What was it, 2018, I think, since the last time they made it, and they were down the bottom for so many years battling. And yeah, overall, I think West Coast will be. I think they'll be fine long term. I think they'll be okay. They've put themselves in this situation though, and they need to just realise that they need to fix this list, because there are a lot of issues. But I do think overall they have the bare bones of a list that can build in the next couple of seasons, maybe 4 or 5 years. I think they'll be right. I think they'll be around the mark back into that finals contention. But right now, though, they're not looking the greatest. Let's be real. No priority pick. I'm sorry.